No, because we
Okay, all right. I think we have a good number. We can start. The rest of us can be joining as we proceed along. So, hi everyone. Welcome to our webinar for today from Advanced Mobility. We have a very interesting panel, and this is all in our direction towards capacity building for electric mobility. As you know, we've carried out several trainings in Kenya on electric mobility. And in fact, we have one coming up next month, the month of July. We shall be running that at the Kenya Power Training School. Allow me to share a poster on that, just so that those who are joining can be able to see. So if you can see my screen. So this is the next training we shall be running in partnership with various stakeholders in the mobility industry at the Kenya Power Training School. We shall have 4 cohorts. Each group will take 4 days each. And we will be having probably the best trainer in Africa on electric mobility. That's Turai Sewera. He's a master EV technician certified in the US, various certifications. And he's been in Nairobi before. I think it's one of his best destinations outside Zimbabwe, where he resides. And we look forward to hosting him again in the month of July as we do that program. So looking forward to having some of you in that program so that we can be able to have much more capacity building in terms of electric mobility. So right now we are having a series of webinars, and today's session is basically about electric mobility equipment. So we have some people who attended the previous trainings, people who are trying to get more knowledge on the industry to see how they can grow their careers in the automotive space, in the electrical space. And one of the key things that we need to manage with electric mobility is, of course, the risk. There's a big risk of fires, electrocution, because we're dealing with high voltage. And a normal vehicle has low voltage system 12 or 24, but an electric vehicle is high voltage. We are talking 300-400 volts. I think some models are even now doing 800 volt architecture. So our panelists will be able to take us through that to tell us what are the risks and how to mitigate them so that we become professionals in this space. One of the other challenges we know with electric mobility is that bad news spreads fast. So if there's an EV fire or an EV fatality, it will go around the world very quickly. But every other day we have ICE vehicles catching fires, killing people, but people don't talk about it. So we are basically being held to a higher standard in the electric mobility industry, and it is our work as Advanced Mobility and other partners to be able to guide you through this journey. So allow me to introduce our panelists for today. They will say hi before we start the presentations. So we have Ryan Anthony, who is from Atlas Copco. So Ryan is in charge of national sales in the motor vehicle industry. I think he handles South Africa and the region. So he'll be able to share with us a bit more about what Atlas Copco does. They are known for industrial equipment, but they are also known for e-mobility equipment. So Ryan, you can unmute and just introduce yourself briefly. Just say hi before we introduce the other panelists.
Okay. Thanks, Alex. So my name is Ryan Anthony. I'm the National Sales Manager for Atlas Copco in the motor vehicle industry. If you don't know Atlas Copco, we are a Swedish company. We've been around for about 151 years. We're present in more than 180 countries, got more than 43,000 employees globally. We've got about 4 different divisions. The Industrial Technique Division, which I'm part of, and we focus mainly on assembly, and my focus is mainly on motor vehicle industry. Most people know us for compressors, but yeah, there are many different divisions to Atlas Copco, and we do many different things. Thanks for having me here.
Thank you, Anthony. Actually, Anthony is in Nairobi right now. He's not in South Africa, so yeah, he's also visiting and doing some business trips. So our second panelist is Vivek Chamaria from SICAM. Is it SICAM or SICAME? I don't know how you pronounce that. He's based, yes, SICAM. Yes. So he's in SICAM, India, and basically he's the senior manager in charge of BD, C&I, and safety. So he'll be able to introduce himself and explain to us what all those initials mean in his title. Welcome, Vivek.
Thank you, Alex. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Vivek Chamaria from SICAM India. SICAM India is part of SICAM Group from France, and we are having multiple companies for dealing with electricity equipments. And one of the subsidiary company is Kato, which is from France. And Kato is a more than 100-year-old company, started in 1919. So we are into electrical safety equipments for transmission, for distribution, and now with railways, metro line, and the latest one is electromobility, the electric vehicle for passenger car, for electric buses, etc. So there are a lot of new expansion, new things are up in the market for EV, and we have a global exposure with the company where we have already started doing good work with all the big OEMs in Europe, then US, now in Southeast Asia as well. So I'm the in charge for electrical safety in India and the SAARC region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivek, for that very comprehensive introduction. And lastly, we have my namesake from my namesake company. So another Alex from another mobility. This is Alex Mwanzo from Equita Mobility. He runs the first EV service center in Kenya. He has some long experience in e-mobility, and he's also known for other things. You can look for him on X as Turbo Diesel. So you need to ask him to change that Twitter handle to something more compliant to e-mobility. So Alex, just introduce yourself, tell us what you do, among the other many things that you do.
Thank you, Alex. So my name is Alex Mwanzo. I'm the general manager for Equita Mobility. Equita Mobility started 4 years ago. We are a leasing company that are looking to lease electric vehicles to corporates. The reason for this business model was basically a lot of people are looking to come into electric mobility. However, the capex cost for purchasing these cars is still a bit too expensive. So we sort of offer a buffer to all these companies and corporates to sort of try out the technology and test electric vehicles in the same. My background is in electrical engineering. I've done quite a bit of stints from Opibus, currently Rome, to Aceleron. So I have background in electric vehicle design. I have background in battery design and technology. And at the moment, because of our fleet size, we could not find someone to fix our vehicles or rather maintain our vehicles. And we have space, so we thought maybe we should do that in-house. Naturally, our fleet size grew from 4 to 20, and we needed to do something in-house. So at the moment, we have a garage where I'm sitting at, and we are East Africa's first full EV garage, so you don't expect to find any others at our shop. Very clean shop, and it's the garage is just an umbrella for every other thing that comes underneath it. If you're corporate and looking for an EV, you come to us and we'd give you information for free. If you're looking to install chargers at your place, you come to us, we'd advise you. If you're looking to buy a vehicle, we'd also advise you on which one would make sense and also do savings analysis for you. At the same time, we still do our core business, which is still leasing electric vehicles. Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Wow, that's another comprehensive introduction on the space Equita Mobility is playing. So we look forward to your presentation, Alex. So we shall dive right in and start with Atlas Copco. So Ryan, maybe you can just take us through, when it comes to electric mobility equipment, what what does someone need to have, and what does Atlas Copco have to offer in this space? So Ryan, over to you. You can start sharing your screen.
Okay, let me do that.
So as Ryan does that, if you have any question, please put it on the Q&A, or any comment, you can put it on the chat. So the panelists will be responding to that even as we are proceeding with their presentations. So Ryan, please go ahead. You have the full screen. Thank you very much.
Okay, Alex, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. So go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so Atlas Copco's goal is to be the strategic partner for the electric vehicle industry. And there's a few areas that we focus on, and they're all shown here in this picture. So I'll go through them one by one very quickly, and then I'll focus on a few of them in the next few slides, just to give a little bit of detail about each of the items. So one of the items, mechanical joining, that is becoming very important now with the EV business, especially for the battery packs, where you have flow drill fastening, self-pierce riveting. A lot of these battery packs now use this kind of a technology to assemble the battery pack. Adhesive potting and injection, because electric vehicles have a lot more electronics in them. The adhesive potting, that is being used a lot more now to protect the electronics against rust and degradation along the way. Then the next one, adhesive bonding and sealing. This is not just for bonding and sealing, but also for thermal management of the battery packs. So you need some kind of heat transfer between the battery and letting that get released into the environment. So that's being used a lot in battery pack assembly now also. Machine vision, yeah, you get that used in various different areas. So for instance, robot guidance, where you need to make sure that the robot is actually in the correct position, picking of parts out of bins, quality checking of equipment. Yeah, there's various applications for the vision systems, and that's why we also focus a lot on vision systems in our industry. Then automated tightening. This is being used quite a lot when there's a lot of tightening that needs to be done and needs to be done accurately, and volumes are very high. So that gets used a lot there, and that's also something that we focus very much on. Then the thing that most people know us for in the industrial technique division is tightening and process control. And I'll go a little bit more in detail with that in the next couple of slides. Okay, is the next slide showing on your side also?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so we'll start at the basics, and if you look at vehicle assembly and EV vehicles also, there's quite a lot of bolts that go into the assembly of the vehicles. On average, you'll have about 500 safety critical bolts that need to be tightened on every vehicle. And a safety critical bolt is a bolt that if it fails, then there's going to be some injury or possible death if that bolt fails. So what's very important is that when you do the assembly of vehicles, that the correct torques are being done, and that's where these range of tightening equipment come in. So we provide a range of tightening equipment all the way down from pneumatic tools, manual wrenches, all the way to high-end, high accuracy fixtured spindles that do accuracies of plus minus 2.5%. Next step is then error-proofed assembly. Because there's such a big mix of products and new variants coming out, it's very difficult for an operator in a station to keep track of what variant he needs to do what with. So, for instance, the parts might look very similar, but there might be a bolt that needs to have a different torque compared to another bolt. And with our error-proofed assembly system, the operator gets guided on what bolt to tighten, where he needs to tighten it. It automatically adjusts the torque values. The position of the bolting tool gets tracked, and all that information gets fed back into our controller, into the SQL database or whatever database they want to use. And then that data gets tracked for, or at least stored for, the next 10 to 15 years, because that's usually a requirement with the motor vehicle industry. Because of recalls and stuff like that, you need to be able to prove that the bolt that you tightened on that day was correctly tightened and that it was accurately tightened. So here we're looking at just a couple of the stuff that we saw in the previous station, an example of one of the bolting tools. This is a battery bolting tool with the screen that gives the operator guidance and tells him exactly what he needs to do. So put that bracket there, put this bolt there, and our wireless tool tracking system, which is accurate up to 1 millimeter. Something that, sorry, I don't know if you can see the next screen already. Is it showing the quality management system?
Yes, we are on that.
Perfect. So something that's very important and that we found is lacking in most of the motor vehicle industry business is the quality management system. So this keeps track of your tools, your product that you're manufacturing, and make sure basically that you're doing what you think you're doing. So for instance, if you introduce a tool into the line, you need to make sure that that tool is correct and that it's producing the correct torque that you think it's producing. And that's what the quality management system does. We check this. We make sure that the tools are actually producing what we think they are producing. You can do visual checks on items to make sure that that they're within specifications. You can check the bolts afterwards, that they've been tightened to the correct torques, and all that information then gets fed into a central database that keeps track of all this information and makes sure that you are actually producing what you think that you are producing. The next one, this has specifically come up with the EV industry, because like Alex, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, the normal ICE internal combustion engines, they deal basically with 12-volt batteries. But when you're looking at EVs are anywhere from 300 to 800 volts. Now you can imagine if you had to short out one of those batteries, that would have catastrophic results. You would have either the battery being burning up or giving some kind of problems. Your equipment might get damaged, or you could get the operator in the station getting injured. So our range of isolated sockets and insulated covers make sure that this can't happen, so that if the operator accidentally puts the bolting tool in the incorrect position and he shorts out two nodes, then you won't get that short, because these units are rated up to 1,000 volts. Then the last step is the automated assembly. So this is something that Atlas Copco is dealing a lot with. So we provide basically modules of the automated assembly systems. So in this example, the tightening tools that you see, tightening the wheels onto the vehicle with the clamping system, with the vision system, with the screw feeding system, all of those are being fed, or being produced by Atlas Copco, and then we use integrators, or we would use our innovation center in Germany to actually manufacture a full assembly system like this. We do everything from the simulation to make sure that the cycle times are correct, and then design and manufacture all of these items. What we try to do is we try to make a modular system that is be able to be used for many different applications afterwards. So we don't try to reinvent the wheel every time. We use proven solutions that then can be used in different industries. And that's basically it. I hope I stuck to the 10 minutes that you asked us to stick to.
Hey, you're totally on time. I think we are what we call on Mzungu time. So
what is that?
You're clearly not. You're not on African time. That's the opposite of African time. Yeah. So you are right on top of the time. Thank you so much. So in summary, basically what you're saying, Ryan, is that Atlas Copco has what? Automated tools with cloud solutions, to prove, the quality of the assembly and the work done on each and every EV. I don't know if that's an accurate summary.
Yeah, Atlas Copco provides everything from, if you can think about it, everything from the socket that you would need to start tightening a bolt, to the gluing systems, to the flow drill fastening, all the way up to the advanced software that you use for analysis to make sure that your results are correct and that you find faults before they actually happen. So we have various different applications and solutions for the motor vehicle industry and specifically for the EV business also. It's very difficult to go through all of them in the 10 minutes, but if anyone is interested in any type of solution, they can just contact me and we can go through it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that brief, because right now, today is actually budget reading day. And one of the measures that government is announcing is tax-free assembly of the first 100,000 EVs to be assembled in the country. So definitely in a market where we have over 20 e-mobility, firms doing assembly mainly of two-wheelers and three-wheelers, we expect that the demand or the requirement for this kind of equipment is going to be quite high to operate a profitable and a safe venture. So thank you so much, Ryan Anthony from Atlas Copco. We'll now put on stage Vivek Chamaria. You can unhide your camera and start sharing your screen. Tell us what SICAM has to offer as far as the electric mobility equipment is concerned. Over to you.
Yeah, I'll just start my presentation. Let me know if it is visible.
Yes, it's visible and it's on slideshow. You can proceed. Thank you very much.
So I'll start with the electrical safety on e-mobility. As I already said, under SICAM Group, our company, the brand is called Katu, which is the manufacturing setup is based in Paris, in France. And SICAM India is part of SICAM Group of France. And it's a 100-year-old company for doing electrical safety products for transmission line, distribution line, then railways, metros, and now with e-mobility. And with a lot of experience, I can say, globally. So to start with, this will be the introduction of SICAM Group Katu, and to know about the electrical risk and standards on e-mobility and equipment or material to work in safety for the electric vehicle. So just a brief introduction about the company, about the group. That SICAM Group is present in 5 continents, and which is comprising almost 226 countries, and we have got almost 50 companies around the world. So these are the areas where we are present globally, and our products are distributed in more than 150 countries in the world. So these are the locations of the presence of the group company in different areas. Mainly we are present in Europe. Most of the companies, I can say more than 60% are in Europe, and rest in Asia and American region. So different companies, but all related to electrical products. And for electrical safety, it's only Katu, which is in France, as I already said. So you can see a lot of companies in Asia, China, Indonesia, Australia, Middle East. SICAM India is here. Okay, and here you will see a lot of companies in Canada, US, and all. Apart this, the manufacturing setup and commercial offices, we have got testing and research laboratories around the world, which are almost now the count is up to 13, and they are based in Canada, US, in Europe, in Spain, in France, in UK, and India also. We have an R&D center to test the products, and for the training, we do give the training as well for different kind of products and for the annual maintenance contract of different products. So business-wise, just talking about the electrical vehicle is there, but yes, as I said, for CCAM, it is transmission segment, distribution segment, renewable energy, industries, services, OEM, and we are now focusing on electromobility. So, Car2, this is the factory setup. As said, it started in 1919, so it's more than 100-year-old company based in Paris. We are in Paris. We are having more than 150 people working in the factory, and our lab, which is a COFRAC accredited lab, which is accredited for 420 kV AC voltage testing and up to 552 kV DC voltage testing. We do internal testing for ourselves as well as for third party also. We are accredited by the agency called COFRAC, as you can see here. So all the material you need for safe working, these are the broad category of products what are required for your normal maintenance of your vehicle. So PPs are there, that is personal protective equipment, collective protective equipment, hand tools, which are all insulated live line working, voltage detection, etc., and lockout tagout, which are essential for the electric vehicle. So just giving the essence of electrical risk. So as we all know, there are in current we are having direct current and indirect current. Okay, so you can see here when you touch a direct line, this is the path flow of the current, and for an indirect current, this is the path flow. So it's always a risky thing when you work on electric vehicle, because the live part battery is there. It's a series of battery which is called pack of batteries, lithium ion battery, and it will be very dangerous. It can be fatal also. So we have to be very careful while working, and without the secure safety equipment, we are not authorized to do any kind of maintenance part on the electric vehicle. So voltage wise, AC is there and DC. So all electric vehicle is on DC. Everybody knows. So when it is on risk below 50, and in AC we don't see much risk, but if it is more than 50 volt AC, yes, our start of risk on low voltage is there. On DC it is more than 120 volt. Okay, likewise extra low voltage, then low voltage, high voltage, and which can go up to 1500 volt DC. Normally the vehicle will be around 400, 800. Now the newer vehicle, the hybrid and all, it's going higher version, so 700, 800 also. So these are the risk factors. Voltage AC 50 volt, voltage DC 150 volt. Going by the standard, we all know we are into different region, and Car2 being a global company, we deal with all the market in the globe. So dealing with different standard of country, like in US, there is a safety rule called OSHA. Okay, internationally it is depending on the country to country, there are certain certain safety rules. Likewise in Europe, it is EN standard, the safety rules. And in Europe also, if you go specific to France, it will be NFC standards. And once safety rule is governed, after that the product standards will be there according to the safety rules. So in American market, it is all qualifying to NFC standards and ASTM standards. Europe, it is EN standard, and for France, it is NF standard. But when we go globally, we see it is all depending on the country. But normally the standard will be IEC, which is International Electrotechnical Commission. So globally, every country is having their own specs. Even India is having their own specs. But the main thing which is globally accepted and more widely accepted, we can say, is IEC, the IEC standards. So whatever the products we make everything as per IEC standards. And somehow region to region, for American market, we have to comply for the ASTM standard as well. So focusing on the hybrid electric vehicle, so the electrical risk is always there. And when we are doing any mechanical work on the electric vehicle or the machine, it is first necessary to eliminate the electrical risk, because even if we are doing any electrical mechanical thing, we have to consider those factors, because electric wirings are there, the battery pack is there. So we have to be very careful while doing the mechanical work as well to safeguard it. Okay. And the DC voltage is dangerous for humans from 120 volt DC. The level of capacity is considered dangerous when the value is greater than 180. This is as per the French standard. So as we said, for the safety rules and product standard, similarly, there are electrical safety on vehicle also. So international, this is the standard ISO 6469. Europe, we have EN 50110. Different country, these are the standards: Netherlands, France, Austria, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland. So, but more or less, if you come to the means, I can say the baseline, it is all going to the same thing, the same pitch. That okay, electrical things are considered, and we have set of norms, which is as IEC also we said. So everything will be related to your standards. All other regions of Europe are for the moment based on general European standard operation of electrical installation. Okay. So for the electric vehicle, the main risk is the explosion of the batteries. Okay. So these are the risk factors. Okay. And we have to do the risk analysis of the network. So depending on the nature of work, there are sometime we can do the dead working on the maintenance part, and sometime it has to be done only live working. So for both the working, we have right equipments, and you have to use the right equipment to be 100% safe. One of the video I'll just play for you to understand how a simple thing looking, but it can be a very risky thing. I'll just play the video for you. There you just saw with a normal, I think e-bicycle, okay, the electric spark started and it ended up in big explosion with smoke. So we should not consider it as a small thing or a big thing that such explosion will only occur in high voltage or extra high voltage. It most of the cases it will be only in low voltage. That is the statistics. Just a minute. And one of more video I'll just play. You can see the explosion of arc because of the electric battery pack. So these are the hybrid. We have to identify where our wiring is there, where the battery pack is there. In hybrid, it is normally located. You can see the arrangement of engine, mechanical parts. Anyway, we all know we are into this business. Even you are working on the vehicle. So these are the things to be knowing beforehand. How to do the deadline working means to disconnect and do the working. So for that, you have to use the proper stepwise procedure, which are called the golden IEC rule. Okay. So you have to put the proper signaling. You have to wear the exact PPEs, which is suitable and mandatory to be used. Lockout devices has to be there. Voltage detectors to be used. So these are the arrangements. I'll show one of the video as well. So these are the PPs, but these are not the normal PP. These are all for arc protection. In case of any arc flash over, your full body, your hand, even these gloves are arc protected gloves. Your face, because when you are working on the vehicle, it will be more prone area on your face and your hand and the chest part. So everything has to be arc protected. So your body is protected with this arc protected clothes, face with this face shield, which is also again arc protected, and hands with your arc protected gloves. So with electrical insulation, there will be no burn. Otherwise, if you are just using the normal insulating gloves, it will melt. These are the arc protected helmets of different range. The gloves, these are the normal gloves. Up this white one, these are with arc protection. You can see this particular symbol, which denotes that it is suitable for 12 calorie per centimeter arc protection. So the levels are there: 8 calorie, 12 calorie. Mainly it is 12 calorie, and beyond we can go up to 40 calorie. So gloves has to be worn. Over gloves are there again with arc protection, and the gloves ranges starts from 00. You can see 00 class means 500 volt on AC, 750 volt on DC. If you think your risk factor is more than 700 or 800 volt, better to go with class 0, which will comply with your 1500 volt DC equipments. So the right selection of products is very much important. One more video. The arc protection gloves are tested. The type test is done to understand what effect would be there and how you are protected. So these are type tested in a different laboratory in Europe, mainly in Spain. So these are the things, how it is well tested. So safety clothing, as I said, all arc protections are there for body, head, and your hand protection as well. Full kit wise, there are a lot of equipments to be worn and to be taken care. Earlier it was one more video, sorry, is there. Just quickly I'll run through.
Okay,
Just I'll take 2 more minutes. The inspection has to be done before every use. These are arc protected garments.
so this equipment is required even for hybrid vehicles as well.
Yeah. This step is also very important, that you have to, even after disconnecting, you have to check the network with the help of a voltage detector to be 100% sure whether it is dead or live. This is a golden principle.
Quite interesting.
So these are the live working things what I have already shown you. So working on the permanent risk, work with the PPs for your hybrid traction batteries and all. So we have got all insulated tools and all. For even for live working, the PPs are the same. You have to use the insulating tools to avoid the short circuiting, to protect yourself from electrical shock and burn when touching a live part, because there are a lot of live parts. Okay, so one network should not touch to the other one, otherwise it will give a big blow. And there are personal protective, other than that there is collective protective equipment. So this is called CPE, collective protective equipment, to avoid to create a short circuit between two poles. So if there are two poles, you have to fully insulate it with the help of proper equipments, so that one of the end doesn't touch the other and give a shock. This is for the battery pack, battery lifter and all. Gloves with the over gloves for mechanical protection. These face shields are protected. These all tools are insulated one.
Maybe
So
you
the
can
conclusion
pause
is
the
here.
video because time is really gone.
Yeah. So this is the conclusion: to cut off the power supply for your dead working. And if you want, if the critical requirements are there that you have to work on live line, then you have to work on that live working. So the procedure is same. We have got many references for all safety. We are there. So anything, we are there to help you, and feel free to ask any questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Vivek, for that very informative session. I think we'll be sharing this content later. We've learned a lot about the live, dead working, PPEs, CPEs, and all those terms that go with electric mobility safety. So thank you so much, Vivek. You can check, there's some questions on the Q&A, even as we proceed. And I will ask Alex Monzo to start sharing his screen so that we understand now what it takes to actually operate an e-mobility service center. So Vivek, you can stop sharing your screen, and then so that Alex can be able to start sharing. If there are any questions, please keep posting them on the Q&A, and the panelists will be able to pick up from there. So Alex, you can unhide your camera and start sharing your screen. In the meantime, I'm seeing some comments from Serge, from Chris. So the panelists, you can be able to see which questions you're able to respond to in the meantime, even as we go into the final part of the webinar. Able to share your screen?
I still don't have that option. I've just sent you a text of the same. Let's check, please.
Let me share it from my end.
Yes, please.
You'll be telling me to move it forward.
Okay, that works.
I think you joined as a participant instead of as a panelist, but that's okay.
That makes sense.
you can see my screen?
Yes, just
Is it full screen?
not yet.
Let me put it on a slideshow first.
Not yet.
Good now?
Not yet. Yeah. So
Full screen, okay. You'll
yes,
be
full
telling me
screen.
to move next.
Okay, yeah. So I think you can just go to next, and then I can discuss from there. So Equator Mobility started as a leasing company, as discussed, and then the faster we grew our fleet, the faster we noticed we needed a way to maintain our vehicles. Now, unfortunately, at the moment for Kenya, it's when hybrid vehicles are starting to pick shape. So that's some of our fleet. And we quickly noticed we couldn't get, so one, we couldn't be supported by the manufacturer. In this case, this is Nissan. So because the vehicles were already out of warranty since they left the country of origin. And also we could not get a service center in Nairobi that could support us in this ecosystem. One, we needed a company, rather a workshop that's already tooled for EVs. We could not find any. We needed vendors to provide us with some of the equipment needed. We could not find, so it just made sense for us to service in-house. So if you go to next. So this is one of our workshop. So the gray area is where it's our active workshop. The cars you see in front is our latest fleet. As said, we have 22 cars in country at the moment, majorly being Nissans and 2 vans from China, so BYDs. The beauty of the infrastructure is all the same. So for a workshop like this, we basically needed HV tools for any battery work that needed to be done. We needed an electrostatic ready flow. So this will protect us against shorts for earthing and things like that. And we also needed a table that was able to be movable, that's also able to basically be strong enough to handle batteries. So the brown table you see in front of you is able to handle up to 2 tons. And that's what we use normally to maintain our batteries, balance the batteries and things like that. We do have equipment that we co-designed with a company in China. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to show you that. However, the equipment is there just to balance the cells, because majority of the issues that we did find in the Kenyan ecosystem, that since people are buying the vehicle secondhand, they come with batteries already degraded and they're out of balance. So the purpose for that equipment was just to try recover some capacity in some batteries and also balance them so that they all age differently. So keeping in mind an EV like the one you see on screen is about 400 volts, and it has almost 100 different cells, each of 4 volts. We needed a way to make sure they're all either charging the same or they're all discharging the same, hence the equipment for balancing the batteries. So if you can go to next. So all our workshop comes with a 11-point check. So the first thing is obviously diagnosis, to see what's happening, to see any diagnosis error codes, and check the 12-volt system. Majority of the issues to do with electric vehicles will be based off a weak 12-volt system or a weak battery, because it has anywhere between 5 to 30 ECUs inside the car. So majority of the issues will be clicked 12 volts, and that's normally where to start. The other one will be checking the HV battery. We check 3 major things. Number 1 is the balance, making sure the batteries are of the same voltage. Number 2 is the battery health, or the set of health. In this case, for the car that we're doing service at 97%. So anything below 80 or 75 would be a red flag, and then that will either need to be retested, reworked, or to be swapped at some point. The third thing we do normally is road tests. So this is standard for all cars. The purpose for that, we found out some vehicles are performing really good when they're static. However, when you're driving the car, they're performing badly, they're falling out of balance, some of the batteries are dying, they're shorting out, and things like that. So the road test is also part of the diagnosis since we are picking up live data. We drive the vehicles up to 140 kph. We see we normally demand about 50 to 100 amps of power per second. So that basically shows us any weak spots in the batteries and things like that. The other point, basic vehicle services such as tires, brakes, suspension, wipers, lights, and the underside. The underside is really important because one, we check for the underside protection, if there are any scrapes, and what's the effect on the battery. Because Kenyan roads are not exactly the best. Sometimes you'd find people driving over rocks, people driving over maybe some really high bumps, and then the scraping will affect the battery pack since all the batteries are on the underside. So we check all of that to make sure that everything is in good shape. And if anything is out of shape, we take the battery apart and we're able to show you that. Next point, please. So this is some of the equipment that we use on active basis. So we have 1,000 volts insulated gloves for the team. We have insulation testers. We have 1,000 volts tools. So this basically covers your screwdrivers, your torques, your bolts, your wrenches, all that is 1,000 volts insulated. So that's what is usually used for the battery pack mostly. However, I think we've had a chat with Katu before in Kenya to purchase the trolleys. However, the purpose for this is Kenya as an EV market is still growing. We have, I think, 200 EVs in Kenya locally. So we've tooled up to support about 500 cars. For context, we'll probably do about 10 cars a month, and we have the capacity to do that. However, as the market improves, we can get bigger space, we can also hire more, and we can also get more tools. Next, please. So this is me and my colleague checking basic things. So the other thing we noticed as well is for EV cars, because of the torque delivery, the braking needs to be quite sufficient because the acceleration is really fast. You can easily hit 100 kph like what we were working on. The other thing as well is the gearing on the brake pad where the hub sits. It normally tends to wear out really quickly, so that needs to be checked really oftenly, and all the balls around the wheel area. This vehicle in picture, we've had it for the last 4 years. We've not had any major issues. However, we've seen issues to do with loosening of brake components purely because of the torque delivery of the vehicles. We've seen issues to do with underside damage, obviously because of the roads and things like that. So we have a lift at our shop that basically covers all underside checking and things like that. That's standard for all vehicles. And we do also check in the diagnosis is what we call an insulation. So insulation is when the 400 volts leaks into the chassis. So a normal vehicle, or rather a vehicle, has two different points of voltage. So there's the high voltage, which is at 400 volts, and there's at 12 volts, which is your normal vehicle voltage. So this is to run your lights, your doors, and things like that. So these two should never mix at any point. And if you have any battery errors and you have a short, you'll have an installation error. So that's even why we check the underside. So we do all that checks in-house at our place. And if you can go to next, please. So we are checking the battery pack. We did have an issue when we had floods 2 months back in Nairobi. The reason why we do not have gloves at this point is all the points have been, one, we've completely drained the battery. Two, we are checking for the insulation resistance where the battery would be leaking to ground. So we're using a fluke meter, and anything above 300 ohms is acceptable. Anything below that, it means it's shorting to ground. So all the necessary precautions have taken in place. Like I mentioned, Our floor is electrostatically insulated, and also we do have electrostatic mats on the other side that we normally stand on when you're working on it. I'll have a picture of that at some point. And we do checks. So we're also able to do upgrades for batteries. We're able to do swaps for batteries, and we're able to also do just simple replacement. So someone coming with a 24 kilowatt hour battery, they have three options. They can replace the battery, they can upgrade the battery, or they can repair the battery. So all that can also be done in-house. We have a battery standby to do that. However, there are different things we need to take into consideration before replacing or updating. One of them being the software, if the car can accept new battery and things like that. Next photo, please. So this is we did work with an OEM to develop a diagnosis platform. So this is in real time as well. So the tracking software that we use also has OBD capability, so that we can always check the performance of the cars. Like I said, some of these cars have to have up to 20 ECUs. We're able to check each individual system independently. So we're also able to calibrate ADAS. So ADAS is basically self-driving capabilities, your radar sensors and things like that. Your CAN getaway. So the CAN getaway is basically the communication module of the all cars. So for our fleet, we check all these cars every 2 months, and for outsiders, normally this is checked on a service perspective. Any errors that we get, we're able to fix in-house. The beauty between a normal car and an electric car is we have less components to worry about. Majority of them are normally computers and ECUs. So it's really easy to fix most of these things if you know what you're doing, because we have less moving parts. It's just more about the software itself. Everything is communicating where it should be and how they're linked together. So again, like I said, most of these issues would be backlinked to a 12-volt system. So 9 out of 10 times, if the 12-volt system is good, your car would be okay. If it's struggling, then you also have issues. So this shows just an image of us scanning this. So you can buy this system also just off the shelf. However, you cannot get the sort of depth that we get into the vehicles. So we have a level 4 access to the vehicle. So level 4 is basically what can do to their vehicles and the service. If you buy this off the shelf, you probably get a level 1, purely because Nissan as a company, or rather any other OEM, will not allow you to go below certain levels, purely due to risks associated with some of the issues to do with that, because this is basically allowing you to tune the car, so to speak. Next photo. At the same time, we do charging infrastructure. So we manage the charging in-house for all our fleet and also some of our customers. So at the moment, we have 7 chargers installed to one client. So this is what I'll be showing you. However, generally we have about 15 chargers in Nairobi. So we manage all that. So this is 6 months of data. The vehicles have charged up to 21 megawatts, how long it's taken to charge, who's charging, how much it's going to charge. And the best part is on your bottom right, you have your carbon footprint, how much liters you've saved. So if you're running a fleet, this is really important numbers. So we are basically a wholesome ecosystem to anyone looking to go into EVs. So we basically supply the EVs, we supply the charging structure, we service the vehicles, and we finance the whole ecosystem, from charging cars and even training the people who want to come into the system. Next photo, please. So this is a dashboard of the same client as well. So you can see active chargers, available chargers, and unavailable chargers. So active chargers is what's charging or what's waiting to start charging. So all this is also controlled by different people. So on your bottom, you'd see Kevin is charging, Mashari has started to, or rather John is waiting to start charging. So this is just basically requesting for power and then plugging in your car. Also, HBT Transport is waiting to start charging as well. Available chargers that are available but are not being used. So those are locked. So all the chargers are also software controlled by us and those we've allowed to charge. And this is just purely on a safety perspective. They're not public chargers at the moment, so only specified people are allowed to charge the cars, and this is what it shows you. And another chargers can mean different things. One is either it has internet, so all this is on IoT cloud. So we manage all this via 4G and internet or Wi-Fi. So you can start charging from wherever you are, and we can manage all this. So one organization has 7 chargers in 3 different locations and has 32 users. So that 2 users would be fleet operators, they would be drivers, they would be people associated with a fleet, so to speak. Next slide. Yes, I think that's the last one. Yes. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. And so the other thing also I'd mention is our shop, we do have electric blankets. So we are able to basically handle any fires. So they are 9 by 9 meters. In case of any fires, we're able just to cover the vehicle and leave them. I think we're the only guys to have it. Also, we co-designed with a team in UK, since we support a rally ecosystem with Williams F1 Advanced Engineering. So we could design that with them. So in terms of battery fires at the workshop, we have that covered. And we have fire extinguishers that are LifeX. We also have that covered. So one of our best points was just to have all electrical safety equipment in place before the workshop was in place. So that's my submission. Thank you, Alex.
Wow, thank you so much, Alex from Equita Mobility. So basically you're saying you do everything. You import, you sell, you lease, you service, you repair. What else? You do charging, infrastructure support, basically a one-stop shop for electric mobility. Are you limited
Yes.
to Nissan Leaf, or do you import other models as well? You said you have BYD, Vans, Nissan Leaf.
Yes, so we are not limited to any model. If a client comes and they want Teslas, we can provide Teslas to them. It's just that Nissan Leafs are pretty much accessible to us. However, we can basically bring any vehicles that can come into Kenya, provided they're right-hand drive, we can bring them in. Yes, because at the moment, I think we're just about to bring 5 Teslas. So yeah, we go the whole way.
Okay, so you did mention you're also leasing some of those to Tribe and a few other clients, Tribe Hotel. So anyone who
Yes.
needs EV sales, after sales, and technical support, then Equita Mobility is your one-stop shop for that. So thanks, Alex, for that presentation. I'm seeing the panelists are already responding to some questions on the Q&A. I don't know if there is any, because we are really out of time. So probably I'd just like to ask the panelists for closing comments based on the feedback they've seen on the Q&A and the presentation of their fellow panelists. We'll not be able to look at some questions, but I'm seeing they're already being responded to. And just to update you, we will share all these presentations on email to anyone attending, and we'll share even the contacts of the panelists, so you're able to follow up with them as well. So participants, I think thanks so much for your time. We are 5 minutes late, but I'll just like our panelists to have just 1 minute or 30 seconds each closing remarks about this session and about the importance of electric mobility equipment. So Ryan, are you still there? Just a closing remark.
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah, I just want to say Sante Sana for setting this up, Alex, and thank you for allowing us to be part of it. Yeah, Atlas Copco is happy to be part of the EV journey for Africa.
Most welcome. We look forward to more collaborations and benefiting from your 150 years of experience. I think that's a long heritage, and we're definitely glad that you made time to be here to present Atlas Copco. Vivek, closing remarks from SICAM.
So whatever we presented to all the participants, I believe that you people can benefit out of it. And if any doubts, you can connect with us through Alex and team. We'll be happy to assist you. We have global experience on most of the things related to electric vehicle. So we have a long way, and we are very focused on this African market to start with through our partners. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vivek from SICAM. One of the representatives for SICAM is in the webinar is called Kevin Kamau, so we'll be sharing his contacts. He's based in Nairobi and is able to assist on all queries about SICAM product. Lastly, Alex Monzo, just give us your closing remarks even as we finish the webinar.
Thank you. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Vivek and Ryan. This has been really insightful. I've already seen like opportunities to probably work with Atlas, I already know Kevin of Katu. And I think together we can create an ecosystem that's safe for everyone. And we can also basically champion electric mobility in Africa and in Kenya at large. And the more we share what we have, the more we can collaborate. And if you guys are looking for anything, EVs, even information, not necessarily even to buy, you're welcome. If you're looking for any data, we're happy to share our data with you guys, and we can proceed from there. So thank you, Alex.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Vivek. Thank you, Alex. For those who joined midway, we just want to remind you that we have an electric mobility training program next month. This time we are partnering with the Kenya Power. We'll be running it at the Kenya Power Training School in Nairobi, where we'll be doing actually disassembly, reassembly of an EV, a battery pack, inverter, DC converter, and all those other components so that we're able to get some really good experience and set you off on a career in electric mobility. So we'll be sharing more information. Others for now, thank you so much for making time. Thank you to our panelists. We'll be in touch with more information from this webinar. I'll leave the webinar running a few more minutes so that the panelists can be responding to some of the questions. But from now, you can leave at your pleasure. Thanks so much and do have a wonderful day. Bye-bye from Advanced Mobility.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everybody.
Advanced mobility is what Africa has been waiting for.